on the show and another. Yeah, I know. And it's been a process.
Wow.
Yeah. But things are getting better. We
Yeah.
broadcast at the parade last week here, and probably 50,000 people were at it. Well, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Doesn't sound like a lot of
Good
food.
evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
We have
There's no liquor, so don't expect too much.
First Lady of South Beach with us, and the Second Lady of
God knows what,
God
right?
only knows.
The
Yeah.
First Lady of the Lesbians of South
And we have
Florida.
two guys from the Amazing Race that are really, really interesting. It's going to be fun to talk to. Maybe. It's going to be a great show. We have lots and lots of news.
4, 3, 2.
Well, welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening news. It's time to queer up the news. It's 8 p.m. Thursday, July 1st, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. Literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
Hi, and thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only unedited, live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, you will see it. Queer News Tonight is supported by viewers like you. We are part of the Happening Out television network, Hotspots magazine, and We Meg Events. Hotspots is celebrating 35 years of the LGBTQ plus experience. Merged, we bring you the best of LGBTQ plus news, entertainment, and support of our LGBTQ plus community.
This evening, we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet. I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson. Let's first welcome anchor FayWhat. She's a radio and television personality and has the popular blog and YouTube channel aiming to unite the L and the G together. She's a hostess and MC for many South Florida events, an animal advocate, and owner of Fays for Her Family, and is the anchor of the travel news show happeningout.travel. Good evening, Faye.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so happy to be surrounded by such sexy people today. Even you, Al. Let's welcome anchor Tiffany Fantasia. She's one of the most notable drag performers in South Florida. She's an MC and host at world-famous Palace Bar, Ocean Drive's only gay bar and restaurant that features drag shows 7 days a week. She is infamously known for the popular saying, "Don't be a dry hoe, be a greasy bitch." Shameless plug, available in a wide array of merchandise, so go pick it up on your own, please. Welcome, Tiffany.
Thank you for having me, honey. I love all this homosexuality. Yes, ma'am. Let's welcome Will Jardell. He made history when he and his partner became the first LGBTQ plus couple to get engaged while competing on The Amazing Race. And then he went on to win the competition and the $1 million prize. He is a public health specialist and a dance teacher. He is now traveling the LGBTQ plus world with an outstanding travel program for Out Traveler magazine. Welcome, Will.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us. Let's welcome James Wallington. He also made history as part of the first LGBTQ plus couple to get engaged while competing on The Amazing Race, and then he went on to win the competition. I guess perhaps equally important, he also won the $1 million prize, but he must share it. Me. He is an event coordinator and social media manager. He travels with his handsome and interesting partner, Will Jardell, and exploring our LGBTQ plus world with the travel program for Out Traveler magazine. Welcome, James.
Well, thanks, babe. Thank you so much for having us. We're so happy to be here. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Thursday, July 1st.
I can't remember a time where an anchor said to another anchor, "Thank you, babe." Well, let's queer up and begin with politics. Senior Biden official on LGBTQ plus issues. Biden has taken a whole of government approach to advance equality. Watch this.
Tell me, what does representation mean to you, especially in this White House?
Absolutely. Well, at the 100-day mark, President Biden announced that his administration is made up of 14% LGBTQ plus people, and for a president of the United States to announce that was, for me, a person who is black, born with a disability, who's queer, really touched me. It made me realize how much this president not only values LGBTQ plus voices, but is looking to advance equality throughout the country. And so representation for me means a better government. LGBTQ plus people, like any group of Americans, are looking for people in government who share their values, who will fight for them each and every day, who will bring their voices, their stories to important policy conversations. And over the past 140 plus days, this president and this vice president they've done that.
Reggie Greer, the senior White House advisor on LGBTQ plus engagement, explains the myriad of ways in which the Biden White House is working to help the LGBTQ plus community. 14% of the staff of the Biden administration identify as LGBTQ plus, and he explains how the White House is pushing for representation. He also introduces Jonathan Capehart to out members of the administration working behind the scenes to advance equality.
Never in my life would I think that our president would be saying something like that. He's so proud of the fact that he's got 14% in his cabinet. And I, for one, think there's probably more. If they do another head count, they'll come back with 20%.
You're not wrong. And it's no secret that, now it's 2021, representation matters. And especially after the last 4 years, this is a huge step forward, and I couldn't be happier.
Absolutely.
Well, and it's not to say that there hasn't been representation in the White House before with many, many people that have come before, but to have him say it is huge.
Yeah. Did you think Richard Grenell was representation? Not so much, yeah, but I agree with you. And then, of course, 2 terms of Obama. One of the things that's really, I think, incredible in this situation is, first off, we have a director in the White House for LGBTQ plus equality and equality issues. So the most important thing in Capehart's interview is that the White House is keeping their eye on the ball across the administration in terms of how they want to implement for our community. And I think that's fantastic, what we're learning. And of course, we didn't see that in the last 4 years. So it's really quite
Even a glimpse of that.
They gave you this much.
When Tiffany goes child, that means, oh dear. Got it.
Next, let's queer up business. Walmart adds benefits platform for LGBTQ plus employees. Giant retailer Walmart, which has a complicated history with its LGBTQ plus employees, has announced the addition of a benefits platform to help connect them with supportive health care. Walmart workers and their dependents who are covered by one of the company's medical plans will now be able to take advantage of Included Health, which offers concierge services that specialize in connecting LGBTQ plus people and their loved ones with quality affirming care, end quote, says a Walmart press release issued Monday. In addition to assisting in the search for supportive healthcare providers, Included Health's care coordinators will be a source of advice on coming out at work, understanding insurance benefits, and parenting LGBTQ plus youth, according to the release. The service also offers specific support for gender-affirming care.
At least they doing something.
It's progress.
I'm waiting for them to pay their people properly.
Yeah.
Like, girl, y'all, I'm happy. I'll take what I can get, but pay your people, please.
Well, I hope other corporations follow suit because this is so important. Us LGBTQ plus are usually just left out to dry, like I personally have an LGBTQ gyno and a primary, and that's my choice to have it that way, and I love that I'm allowed to. you know, and some people like really need it, and they're just lost in this whole process. So to have these coordinators help them is incredible.
I agree. I really hope other businesses take the step in this direction and progress. You know, that's all we can ask for.
And then I hope that they stop supporting anti-LGBTQ politicians
There's the big issue. That's
to
the
then
big
kind of
issue.
back up what they're doing.
The elephant in the room
Yeah.
is that. However, as I was listening to Faye do this story, I was thinking, wait, are we talking about Apple? Is this Apple?
No, Walmart.
No, it's Walmart. Very strange. Very, very strange.
Now we queer up entertainment. Cinderella is born. Here's your first look. Watch this.
This is it. Soon everyone will know my name. Dresses by Ella. Life outside this basement starts right now. If it's a million to wait, I'm gonna be that one. And you're gonna know my name. You're gonna know my name.
Do you want to go to that ball?
Yes, I was just crying and singing about it like 2 minutes ago. If it's a million to wait.
Steve.
The new trailer for the Amazon Prime adaptation of Cinderella just dropped, and it's left us ready for more. Camila Cabello plays the main character in the reimagining of the classic rags to riches story, and that theme is taken literally. In this version, as we see Ella trying to open her own dress shop, we get a preview of one of the original songs from the movie before Billy Porter appears as the amazingly glam fairy god person. Not since the Brandy and Whitney Houston version have the LGBTQ plus been so excited to see a queen lose her pump.
I love Camila Cabello. I think she's super talented. I love her music, but I think that Billy Porter is gonna just completely put her to the side.
Yes.
Where it would be, who was the girl playing Cinderella? Because I mean, come on, it's Billy Porter. Look at the outfits. Just,
Yeah.
I love that he's a fairy god person also, and he's just representing the non-binary crew. I love that.
Yeah, Billy Porter's going to steal the movie. in my
Oh yeah,
opinion.
honey, I'm getting somebody to make that outfit as we speak. That was everything.
I think I'm most excited about the music. I think it's going to be really, really
Amazing.
good.
Can I just provide a political spin on this? It's one thing to have animated features that are starting to incorporate a LGBTQ character. This is different, and this is going to have substantive and dramatic effect that we're going to talk about after this comes out, because young children and teenagers are going to watch this show and watch Billy Porter be this character in combining the word fairy and God person together, and him being over the top. And that is going to do nothing but crush the evangelical haters of going, this isn't a bad thing, this is fabulous. It's going to be politically great for us.
I mean, well, they used to call us fairies all the time, so why are they mad that we finally playing one in the movie?
Exactly right.
Valid point. Valid point. Let's queer up travel. U.S. to add X gender marker on passports. For the first time ever, the federal government will allow non-binary and intersex people to obtain IDs and passports with an X gender marker instead of an M or and F. The interim policy also removes the requirement that transgender people provide proof of gender transition from a physician, allowing gender-diverse Americans to self-identify. According to a source within the administration, non-binary Americans are expected to be able to obtain the interim X gender markers by the end of the year. The new rule marks the most substantial change to federal documents for transgender people since 2010, when the Obama administration put in place a policy to allow trans Americans to update their passports.
Wow.
This is huge.
Huge.
Like so huge. Do you know that if you send in an application and you don't fill in one of the M or the F, they will send it back to you and take your money, take a fee for it, because it means that it's not completed. So I mean, like, this is huge.
I agree. And like my friend who is non-binary made a post today about their experience reading this news and was so emotional over it. And as they should. I mean, this is just progress, and to feel like you're being seen is huge.
It's I love it. It's about time, first and foremost. And because I travel with some people across the country and whatnot, and when we go out of the country, girl, it's a little embarrassing sometimes because they look at the person, they look at the past, we're like, hold on. But well, whoever is, and I'm male presenting when I'm traveling, so they're thinking I'm supposed to be that person when I'm not. And this will ease a lot of confusion.
And pain.
Yes.
And pain.
And pain and embarrassment, yes.
Well, of course, one of the big issues with this is the State Department and the administration's decision to allow the X, in addition to the M and F, is de facto forcing acceptance when someone travels abroad. So if you're traveling to some place like Hungary or Poland or Russia, etc., Turkey, it forces those nations to say, we won't accept this. And it shines a light on them of, I'm not going to accept what the United States says in terms of gender identification. And I suspect that the countries that are the worst on gender identity are also going to be the quietest on gender identity, because the Biden administration is calling nations out that would reject in wholesale spades of saying, we identify the X, tell us that you are not going to accept that. And then it becomes a little verbal war in the world. Exactly what's happening in the European Union with Hungary, by the way, and Poland. Big news. This is really big news.
Next, let's queer up religion. Religion shouldn't conflict with being LGBTQ, these faith leaders say. For members of the LGBTQ community, it can feel like there's no place for them in the world of faith and religion, especially within Christianity. When you're a queer person of faith and your faith seems to be sharply weaponized against you, who you are, Reverend Serene Jones, president of the Union Theological Seminary, says it is one of the greatest, quote, greatest crimes you can perpetrate against a person, end quote. Despite the pain some experience when trying to live a life of faith, in 2020, the UCLA Law School's Williams Institute found nearly half of LGBTQ adults surveyed identify as religious, and that can lead to a tumultuous relationship.
Oh, I was raised Catholic. I don't have to tell you
Same.
more. You get raised going to church and being told that you're going to hell and you're an abomination and you're a horrible person for loving who you love. That sticks with you forever. Now I have an incredible church. I go to Unity on the Bay. They're a non-denominational church. It's a pretty gay church. It's a pretty gay church.
It's a very gay
church. But you know what? But when I was lost, I needed a place to feel safe. I needed a place that I knew that I can run to, and they were there, and they're still there for me today. You know, LGBTQ, just because we're LGBTQ doesn't mean that we're not religious or spiritual.
The funny part is we're practically more connected spiritually to God than most straight people. That is the funny part. But you know, we've been indoctrinated that we're bad for being gay. When you really get down to it on a deeper level, past the confinements of religion, it's not true.
We're all
I'm
loved.
curious, when you were traveling in the competition on The Amazing Race, did you have any religious rejection to the two of you? Or it happened so fast that really couldn't happen?
I would say no. I mean, a lot of the interactions we did have with the various cultures around the world was all positive. Everyone was so willing to help us at any turn that we needed it, and they wanted to be a part of our team, which was a very humbling experience.
And you don't
every
think
leg
the
of the way.
cameras had anything to do with that?
Maybe, perhaps, but we're also wearing like bright purple, and we're flamboyant as it is. So it was kind of like, I'd be shocked if you didn't question like who we were or what our relationship was. We were very out there, but even then, I just think it was.
You're flamboyant.
Yeah, very
I would have
opening.
never known. You know, one of the interesting things, I'm a person of faith. We're broadcasting in the largest queer church in the world. I constantly am confronted in the LGBTQ community of the pain of religion. And my number one response is evangelical is not religion. The vast majority of almost every religion in the United States, polling shows overwhelmingly acceptance of LGBTQ. Even people who identify as evangelicals are in the 50%. If you're Methodist, you're in the upper 70%, et cetera, and so on. So it's the evangelicals that scream the loudest and you think hate the most, and they aren't the right representation of religion in America. So keep faith, keep faith. Well, now we're going to queer up LGBTQ plus seniors. Wait, All these great stories. How did I get this one?
Because you're the senior.
All right. Well, actually, this is a great story. How 4 gay seniors became social media stars for their humor and their heart. The old gays, yes, that's what they're called, never knew this latest chapter in their lives would be so rewarding, or they could become famous for just being themselves. They recently learned what the word viral means, and they're very surprised their humor and heart has been circulated widely across the internet, winning fans and followers across and all along the way. Based in Cathedral City, California, right outside of LGBTQ enclave of Palm Springs, the foursome of gay men who range in the age of the mid-60s to the late 70s were already friends when the dating app Grindr began using them as subjects in videos back in 2018. From there, people from all ages, especially younger social media users, fell in love with them and started following their conversations. They have even been frequently chosen as the best thing of the week on our own talk show, It's Happening Out. The 4 old guys.
I love the 4 old guys.
Yeah, I love that. It's like feel-good content, and we have a meme group with some of our other LGBTQ friends, and I would say like 75% of what we send each other is content from their pages. It's just, you can't help but smile when you watch it.
Well, and I thought they were going to be talking about their arthritis, or like their hip replacement and stuff like that, but no, they're...
You talking to me?
I'm talking to you. You know I'm talking to you. I'm surprised that you're not part of the 4 old gays there.
Yeah.
Where's the lesbian? How come they don't have a lesbian friend?
Oh. Girl, it's Cathedral City.
Really, girl. Maybe that's why.
Wait, Dinah Shore, Palm Springs.
It's true. It's true. But old folks are really in right now. Like I was watching this documentary on the Villages.
Yeah.
Have you seen them?
Yeah.
And there's these rich old white people, and they're having a great old time over there.
I've stayed at the hotel in the Villages 25 times at least. I know the Villages forwards and backwards. And by the way, a lot of people think that seniors categorically reject LGBT. It is the most difficult age demographic, but in the Villages, they have a rainbow club. It's called the Rainbow Club in the Villages, and it has 3,000 members.
No way.
It does. 3,000 members in the Villages.
Really?
It's really
Listen,
quite
Teresa,
amazing.
get another job.
Yeah,
We're moving to the
we're
Villages
moving
when we
to the-
retire.
Oh, child, you're of the age. You could be there. Anyway. Oh, wait, the next story's yours.
I can't talk after that.
He done
Did you
said
mention
too
my
much.
age? You totally did.
He put you in that upper category.
And Al's not wearing pants. All right, let's queer up South Florida. Oakland Park couple allowed to fly pride flag after HOA reverses order. Queer News Tonight has been continuing to follow the local story of Bob Pleminski and Mike Ferrari and their conflict with the Eastland Cove Homeowners Association in the town of Oakland Park, the neighboring town to the gayest place on planet Earth, Wilton Manors. At the beginning of Pride Month, they had been told their 8 by 10-inch pride flag was against association rules and that they would be fined $50 a day if they did not remove it. Their story attracted national media attention, and finally, at a recent meeting, the HOA decided to rescind the violation and allow them to fly the flag without being fined.
Yay.
8 by 10.
That's a small flag. I mean,
Yeah, we get the joke.
look,
We got it.
you would think it'll be bigger than 8.
All right.
Saying.
And what do y'all think about them waiving the fines?
I think because the internet got loud.
It got very
Like
loud.
everyone was upset. I remember seeing this. I don't even remember when I saw this last, but
yeah.
the internet got loud.
It's been going on for the last couple of weeks very vocally. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the reason was for them to have that law in the first place. I'm sure there's
Only an
something-
American flag.
Well, you know,
Only thing
HOA,
you
this is why I hate HOAs, because they have so many rules and stipulations, and it's really very controlling after I done spent so much money on a house. I find it ridiculous, but, you know, this is what happens when you got a HOA. They have dumb rules, and then you can't put your little flag on your mailbox now.
Yeah.
So
you don't think it was anti-LGBT? It was more being Nazis.
I don't want to think that, and I don't have the full story, but I'm assuming if it's an HOA, like most HOAs, they don't let you put up anything.
Yeah, any flag.
They don't. Yeah.
Here for sure is the facts. They were fined $1,500 in the month of June. They said, well, okay, fine us. We're going to fly the flag anyway. And the result of that decision had many, many, many other homeowners starting to fly rainbow flags in the homeowners association in their homes. And they basically had a revolt. And it came out, the president of the homeowners association said, wait, I voted no. I was in the minority, but I voted no, and we shouldn't do this. And it's at the very end of Pride Month where they go, okay, maybe we made a mistake and we'll waive all of the fines. Hopefully we'll approach Pride Month in 22 in this homeowners association and it won't be the same for them because they got a few black eyes.
Yep.
Ooh. Next, let's queer up gay culture. Lil Nas X just came out as a power bottom.
Whoops.
When Lil Nas X kissed a dancer during the BET Awards, he received a lot of homophobic backlash. In a tweet, he taunted, quote, "Since y'all are doing this over a kiss, I'ma just F the N on stage next time," end quote. In the ensuing conversation, gay rapper Kevin Abstract asked the question we've all wanted to ask, quote, "Are you a top or a bottom?" end quote. Lil Nas simply replied, "Power bottom." Before expanding on what that means, he wrote, quote, "We teach our bottoms to shrink themselves, to make themselves smaller. We say to bottoms, you can have ambition, but not too much. You should aim to be successful, but not too successful. Otherwise, you would threaten the top," end quote. This backs up a comment he made to fans in April when he asked the same question, saying that, quote unquote, "top and bottom S in the gay community has become a huge form of misogyny," end quote.
So me and Lil Nas X have a lot in common with
I mean, I wouldn't peg him as a power bottom, but hey, if that's what you are, more power to you, honey. I love me a power bottom.
Well, so a power bottom is in charge during sex. That's what it says. That's what it says in the Urban Dictionary.
Yeah.
So
power bottom, they backing it up. And you going with it.
I love the live action that's going on right here.
Switch it up. Switch it up. Switch it up. Change positions.
This is exactly why Queer News Tonight is not the NBC Nightly News. You never see Brian Williams ever do that, right?
I love a good power bottom because in my mind, a bottom is in control whether we know it or not. Yeah. If they say stop, it's over.
Yeah, that's right.
And I don't know. I'm always curious to know why this is even a topic of conversation, to be honest. We have friends who badger us all the time about it, and it's none of your business. Everyone has their own preferences, and that doesn't need to be something to label someone as. Yeah. And in my opinion, that's just how I feel.
But it's also empowering for them to step into their power and say it, because even within the LGBTQ community, there's a lot of putting down certain types of people. If you're femme, if you're masculine, there's shaming each other, which doesn't need to happen. And so if people can step into their power, claim whatever they are, it kind of removes that ability to make fun of them or to put them down.
I completely agree with that. And the story is interesting to me. First off, and this comes as a surprise to a lot of people, I absolutely love Lil Nas X. What he is doing in representation in our community, as out there as he is absolutely breathtakingly successful for our community. One of the things that he brings to a point, the questions that he gets, the kiss, the licking that took place on Saturday Night Live in live fashion, and his comments here about the minimization, remove his name and put in Hillary Clinton. It's really the exact same thing. We minimize women in ways where we want you to be great, but not too great. We want you to be powerful, but not too powerful. And that's what he hits right the nail on the head. The power bottom, or the bottom in our relationships in the gay community, are treated very often like women have been treated in the straight community. Correct. It's highly discriminatory. It's highly reflective of toxic masculinity, and gay men can be toxically masculine to the bottom representation in our community. Wow. So he's calling it out, and good for him.
And for the record, that quote was from a Beyonce song.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of it, but that was a Beyonce quote. I'm not surprised he used her.
Yeah.
I think also, I don't know if you have seen this other story with Adam Lambert, who kissed a performer on stage in like 2010, and he got canceled by every news outlet because he kissed a man. And then now Lil Nas X is doing it, and the total topic of conversation has changed in a lot of ways. So it's great to see things
push the boundaries.
shift.
Push the boundaries. Right.
And they can't cancel that boy.
You know,
he's a mega powerhouse on Twitter.
Those kind of pushing the boundaries is what's so exciting. And one day we'll have a reality show where two guys propose to each other. You know, wait,
we did.
Wait,
yeah, that.
Okay. All right.
Already done.
Push those boundaries.
Oh, now we clear up politics. Marjorie Taylor Greene claims that teaching about gay people is emotional child abuse. Watch this.
I have been in counseling as long as I can remember because I was adopted from foster care at age 4. The things I have learned along the way are being challenged now when my science or math teacher is trying to teach me how to be emotionally. And why are they teaching me about sexuality and how to identify? I don't want to hear about sexuality during class in front of other students because that should be a private thing. This should be left in the homes, in between students and counselors or one-on-one conversations. This has been a very traumatic part of my past, and the more the school focuses on sexuality, the more it affects me and my anxiety. It leaves confusion and frustration in my mind, and I don't know how to deal with that because they only focus on more content I feel hurt about. For example, I was told I have white privilege. How can a child born in an abusive drug and alcohol abuse home who lost her entire biological family that has experienced all forms of abuse and neglect be privileged? If you found a child at 15 months in a home with holes in the floor eating cat poop, would you consider them privileged? Just asking because when I was told that, I was so upset I cried myself to sleep. We have to stop the stereotypes and bitterness towards groups because it gets us nowhere but divided. I have no friends and can say HSE again has failed me. They are trying to divide us into two groups instead of bringing us together as one. Every day I felt less and less valued as a student and failed every class this past year. Academics are not important here, only how we feel and making sure we learn about sexuality, political topics, and emotional topics that teachers may or may not be able to handle, especially with trauma children like myself. I'm happy to move on and begin a fresh start and hope that this next school will love me for me and challenge me to grow in areas that I'm good at. I just want people to love one another, and the way we are doing it is wrong. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene shared a video of a traumatized girl testifying in front of a school board that she's being taught to hate white people and how to turn transgender yesterday as part of her ongoing smear campaign against the LGBTQ community. The Congress member claimed that teaching children about gay and transgender people is, quote, unquote, emotional child abuse. The girl in the video is obviously distressed as her mother hovers over her shoulder while the youngster reads the speech, which includes several wild claims about what she is being taught in school. The internet was quick to respond as users pointed out that she had used a slur to describe children with Down syndrome and the Congresswoman's history of repeating outlandish lies and anti-LGBTQ talking points. They also chastised Greene for once again using a child as a political pawn.
Where do we even begin? I have to pray for that little girl. I feel so bad. That little girl needs more than a hug, guys, you know? And I mean, her mom hovering over her, she needs to sit down with her and have some real serious conversations. That little girl is beyond lost. Mm-hmm. And Greene, honestly, just listening to the dumb crap that you do just like makes me so mad. And she is using a kid. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm very tense right now just from watching that.
Yes.
It's like, I need to breathe. I'm very tense. It's very cringe.
It's like, it gets on my nerves, like, this discussion about, well, the part with white privilege is like, mama, you don't understand. you will never be hated for because of the color of your skin. You will never have that experience, and that is where the privilege will come in. I can apply for a job, and you can apply for the job, and they'll automatically look at your application and see your name, and then see my name, and be like, "Oh, I'm going for her. She sounds like a white person that I can deal with." Just based on that. That's the privilege, mama. See, you need to stay in school and you need to get a better education. You obviously not paying attention and worry about the wrong goddamn things in life because it shows, because you have no friends, and you probably had no friends because of the way you talk to people and or treat people, because there's a sense that you feel that you're better than other people while you was trying to do that fake cry and be emotionally distressed over stuff that you think that should not be taught. So you need to get together, little girl, and I'll be happy to help you out in your journey if you need it. But honey,
Mom's probably not going to allow that to happen.
I know, but she get it from her mama or foster mama, because apparently she's a foster child, right? So that has to be her foster mama, I'm assuming. So it's just, girl.
There was not one black or brown person behind her.
Of course not.
Not one. Not even a white person with a tan was there. Okay.
You know, the tenseness that I feel from James as he's doing the story. I just want to point out, because I know these kind of stories cause a lot of tense feelings in the LGBTQ community. The number one criticism that my friends express on Queer News Tonight is how much we talk about Congressman Greene. But I just tell you, we put Congressman Greene in front of the community all of the time because she is literally public enemy number one of LGBTQ. If she could have her way, she would put us all in camps like Japanese internment in 1941. That's the hate that she is preaching. And while we do hate the words coming out of her mouth, we really need to be aware of what she's saying and why she's saying it, because she is really quite dangerous for us.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, let's queer up the USA. Drag queen arrested for sexual assault after audience member complains about twerking stage act. DC drag queen Kabuki Bukaki was arrested for unwanted sexual assault after she fell on top of an audience member during a Pride drag brunch. The performer was taken to jail in full drag and held for 38 hours before being released after prosecutors declined to file charges. The queen had pulled the woman on stage during the performance when the accident occurred, and her costume got caught on the woman's top. One of the straps on the woman's top ripped, but her breasts were not exposed. Other people in the audience told Metro Weekly that as Kabuki got up after the accident, he grabbed the woman's neck and appeared that he was I'm going to say that again because I really messed up. The woman's neck, and it appeared that he was stimulating oral sex. The woman stayed for the rest of the performance with a group of friends and reportedly called the police after telling her parents what happened at the show.
Pride Karen. Let's just call her Pride Karen.
Oh my God.
Let's call her Pride Karen because that is her freaking name now. I mean, think about it. I can't wait to hear what you've got to say about this, Tiffany. But
I'm gonna let y'all go first.
She's here at a drag performance with her friends, okay? And she went on stage when they asked for volunteers or they grabbed her off. She could have said no, all right? An accident happened. She stayed there for the rest of the show, then told her mama what happened, and her mama was like, girl, you got sexually assaulted. Call the cops. Are you kidding me? I can go on.
That's a great way of putting it, though.
I read the story, and everybody who was there watching was like, she was fine. Like, she enjoyed the show.
Exposed.
She had fun after it happened. And then afterwards, she starts crying to police. So it's,
Pride Karen.
Love that.
Tiffany.
Uh-oh.
You know we're on a clock, right?
I know. But number one, if you don't expect to be embarrassed or have something like that happen, don't go to a drag show. Number one. Number two, I hate fake white women tears. Malcolm X, Emmett Till, Rosewood, we go down the line of situations where a woman calls, oh, I've been sexually assaulted. Oh, they tried to kiss me. Oh, they tried to, and somebody's life is either completely ended or destroyed because of their actions, because they were embarrassed from something else or whatever, what have you. in this situation, if somebody did something like that to me and I felt thoroughly embarrassed and was hurt, I wouldn't be staying for the whole show. I would have left and called the cops immediately. So I feel she did fake tears. It's sad. The police didn't even want to have to handcuff the drag queen, but they're like, we got to follow procedure. And now that drag queen has a mugshot and has a day job and all that kind of stuff.
She's a dog sitter, and in some states they take your fingerprints and check your background for that. Okay.
Yeah, and so now this person's life is probably ruined outside of drag forever because of this. Because unless you get it all expunged, because you still, if you apply for a job, you have to say, yeah, I was arrested for sexual assault.
Yeah. Well, first, Marjorie Greene, we were just talking about Congressman Greene, did the exact same thing to your home establishment at the Palace. We reported it at Queer News tonight, talking about how horrible it was that children were present and what they did, and the dust up there. That's one thing. This story is really crystal clear. You're now guesting at Lips in Fort Lauderdale Thursday nights, and what's your second?
Thursday and Sunday nights.
All right. So a note to myself personally. On Thursday or Sunday, I'm going to need to go to Lips and get my shirt collar hooked up into your wig. Or
my outfits don't do that.
Several things are falling into place. Note to self. All right, very good. All right.
Now you might have the simulation of oral sex depending on the vibe, but I have to get a good vibe and feeling from you. No, because people love to do ooh, pick her, and I don't do it on purpose because a lot of times that person looks uncomfortable.
See, you know how we're going to end this conversation is you're flirting with me. Please stop flirting with me.
The delusion is real, but go ahead.
All right.
Let's queer up the world. Czech President called trans people disgusting and declares he's sick of suffragettes. In a tirade against LGBTQ rights, Czech President Milos Zeman called transgender people disgusting during a Sunday television appearance. In the conversation with CNN Prima, Zeman said, quote, "If you undergo a sex change operation, you are basically committing a crime of self-harm. Every surgery is a risk, and these transgender people to me are disgusting," end quote. His comment came during a discussion about a new and widely condemned anti-LGBTQ law passed in Hungary that bans LGBTQ content in schools and on television for children under 18. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced she will be taking legal action against Hungary's law, calling it a shame. In addition, 16 out of the EU's 27 member states have publicly voiced opposition to the law.
You know what, Mr. President Milos, you're disgusting. All right, so you're really disgusting, and you hate us all. So go eat a burger and leave us alone.
He's too ugly to be talking about somebody else. I'm sorry. Like, girl, you see that picture? Like, come on. You like 2 steps away from death. You got the nerve to talk about transgender people and how they look. They look 10 times better than you would ever look or ever have looked in your older or younger days. Child chicken, I'm done.
Yeah.
I think I'm just really tired of white older men telling me how to feel.
Exactly.
Or telling me what to do or what I can and cannot do.
Yeah.
Like the
You wonder what they're putting in the water in Eastern Europe, because it's going on. It's like a new Iron Curtain against trans and LGBTQ rights. The one encouraging thing in the story that you just did is overwhelmingly the European Union. Hungary got called out in this week, where the European Union said, if you don't like the rules that you have to follow, which means embracement of LGBTQ, we invite you to leave the European Union. So the Czech Republic president, Poland, Hungary, the Soviet Union or Russia is where they're at. Ukraine is where they're at. Turkey is in question. But this won't stand in Europe. It just is not going to stand in Europe.
So that is our queer headlines for today. So let's catch up on the LGBTQ plus news surrounding COVID-19 with our special segment called Quarantine Quickies.
Queer News Tonight has been LGBTQ plus America's most important news source on the pandemic, as we have reported on coronavirus on every news broadcast since January 6, 2020.
Tonight, we report the devastating effect coronavirus has had on the American and worldwide LGBTQ plus community in total cases and deaths.
But we will also provide hope of a new light at the end of this long tunnel. First, we report that as of tonight, more than 2,417,000 LGBTQ+ Americans have contracted COVID-19.
We have watched the greatest single-year LGBTQ+ health crisis of our lifetimes. More than 43,000 LGBTQ+ Americans have died from coronavirus.
But the news is improving because as of today, more than 326 million vaccination doses have been administered in the U.S.
That is our COVID-19 news for tonight. Next, we report that Happening Out Television Network is passionate about our support for the LGBTQ+ community.
An example is Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. We are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine and supporting that partnership.
The network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ+ religious broadcast in the world, with more than 30,000 watching every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and it's totally live.
We encourage you to tune in. Our campaign of sponsorship proudly supports Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church. Watch this.
I'm Auntie Mame, South Florida's black, bearded drag mama, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Finally, we thank Queer News Tonight's hotel sponsor, Best Western I-95 Fort Lauderdale. This is the closest and best choice to the famous Wilton Drive, and our hosts and guests stay at this LGBTQ+ ally partner. We encourage you to stay here when visiting South Florida.
Well, next up tonight, we have a unique opportunity to talk about The Amazing Race. Did you know it's gay? Well, kind of. This year celebrates the 20th year, and The Amazing Race is the most awarded reality show in history. A gay married couple won the race on season 4, but something historic happened on this season's season 32. After North America, the Caribbean, South America, Europe, and Asia, partners Will Jardell and James Wallington won Amazing Race season 32. But the drama was not to be the first to cross the finish line. The real drama was when crossing the finish line, Will proposed to James while the entire world watched. Their lives literally changed at that moment, and now they travel the world as experts, currently doing destination reporting for one of the world's top LGBTQ content providers, Out Traveler. We again welcome Will Jardell and James Wallington to Queer News Tonight.
Thank you.
We are glad you all are here. Tell us a little bit about your experience. Let's start broadly for Amazing Race. What was your experience like?
It was, amazing, pun intended. Like from start to finish, everything that we did was such an out-of-body experience because it's been a dream of mine since I was 11 years old. So to actually be living out this dream, I still pinch myself to this very day. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. It was amazing.
We saw 11 countries in 21 days and experienced culture, people, things, activities you would never be able to do in your lifetime. And so it's a memory that we'll keep forever, and we made great friendship.
I've read the famous quote about the best way to find out if you can be with somebody is to travel with them basically nonstop. That's what you did for how long from start to finish? From the moment the race starts to the moment you cross the finish line, how long was it?
21 days.
Yeah.
21 days. Being together basically
24/7.
Yeah. It was a great precursor to the past year being in quarantine together because we were together every day for the last year.
So, Will, if it wouldn't have gone well, would you still have proposed?
Oh, yes.
So you were planning on doing it?
I had a plan to do it if we were eliminated throughout the entire season. It never happened, or if we were going to visit a country that we had been to together. But it never really happened, and then it finally just worked out that it was at the finish line at the finale. It worked out perfectly.
Yeah, now I've worked with Riken a number of times. I've had him in Florida. He was the first to win in season 4. But yours did it a little bit differently. Your proposal, crossing the finish line, we're going to show in a talkover fashion of that video because CBS and Amazing Race tied the video down. We're showing it right now very tightly. What kind of history did you think it made for the LGBTQ community? Did you feel that mantle of, wait, I'm representing my entire community at this moment?
You know, I think in the moment we were so wrapped up in our emotions and like we've been on the road for 21 days that we didn't think about it in that moment.
Yeah.
And when the camera stopped rolling for a second, Phil, who's the host of the show, stopped, looked at us and said, we're about to cue up the cameras again. And I want to make sure you both say everything you want to say in this moment. And I had to take myself back for a minute and be like, what is he referring to? And he goes, this is a huge moment for your community. Like, this has not been done before on The Amazing Race, an LGBT couple, let alone at the finish line. So just really think about that before the cameras come back up again. And to hear Phil say that was huge. And I really
he was kind of
getting
sending
emotional
you a
thinking about it.
secret
Yes, I
message.
just really appreciated that.
Isn't that interesting that the straight guy, he does a fantastic job at Amazing Race, has right from the beginning. It's interesting that the straight guy is saying, boys, make sure you're ready because I know what this moment means for your community. That's a beautiful
I think it's
story.
because our adrenaline was so pumped up. So just hearing that, it was like, okay, let's take a deep breath and really think about this is bigger than us at this point in time.
Did you boys watch yourself back already?
Oh yeah.
Oh, are you
Countless
kidding?
times,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, like everybody knows like the ending. Like so you were meant to win. I mean, do you ever like just like you're looking at TV going, okay, that's what happened. Good job, and you guys screwed up big time. We're winners.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like the whole time, I think the show did a really good job of allowing us to just be ourselves, that we were just having the best time, but preparing for the show, we prepared more than I think anybody else on our season, that everything just fell into place and we just kept celebrating after every episode and then watching it. They had us watch it by ourselves the first time for the finale and we're just sitting there bawling our eyes out just because reliving it. Watching it is totally different than living it out in the moment.
Because you don't remember. It's an out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
But I also, like, the engagement itself was huge, but there's also little points along the way. I remember after episode 2, Kelly Wells Brinkley, who's one of the Olympians from our season, texted me, and she goes, just seeing the two of you kiss in this episode is huge. Like, that's progress in itself. So that, I think, just kind of was the precursor for the rest of the season.
I'm curious. We have reported at Queer News Tonight, of course, travel is starting to rebound. It's kind of stagger rebounding. But we have reported that of all of the demographic kinds of groups in America, the one that has the highest propensity of traveling first, the most often is the LGBTQ community. What kind of advantage do you think you had being LGBT, being gay men, in competing in The Amazing Race? Did that give you almost an unfair advantage just simply because we live travel, right?
Yeah, we had traveled so much together before the show. We had been all over the world just as a couple, and I think it helped a little bit, but we had never been in that high stress of a situation. But I think we were able to, manage the stress really well.
Which was your favorite country? Which was your favorite country?
Oh my gosh, Cambodia.
Really?
Yeah.
Cambodia?
I think it's something I've always wanted to experience, and being able to go to Angkor Wat, which is more like, it was like Angkor Thom, which is the east gate of Angkor Wat. Being there was incredible. Like, it was just something you have to see to really get it.
Yeah, and your favorite?
Probably Brazil. We got to cook a meal with an indigenous tribe there and interacting with the people. We couldn't speak the same language, but just the warmth that they shared with us and teaching us how to cook their meal was one of the most beautiful experiences.
Yeah, and from your experience, how many countries have you been to?
Approximately. Gosh. Maybe 20 to 30.
Yeah.
20 to 30, that's excellent. It really, for your age, that's actually excellent. So you do The Amazing Race. You travel literally all around the world in 21 days. You win. You run across that iconic finish line. He proposes to you. I mean, this is like, we were talking about Cinderella earlier. This is basically what happened for you all. Right, exactly. And so you have this moment, and then then the pandemic comes and everything crashes. What did you think about going through pandemic after the experience that you have of are things going to come back to normal? Are we going to travel like this again? What were you thinking in pandemic?
We filmed the show in 2018, so this was before the pandemic, and because of COVID, our season kept getting pushed back to being released, so it didn't get released until the end of 2020. So we were just cut off for 2 years of just waiting for the show. Yeah. And I think because we had traveled so much before the pandemic and then being completely cut off, we've been itching to get back out there and see the world and try and do it safely. Just because we have a wanderlust for travel.
Yeah. So did you have to keep that secret for those 2 years?
Yes.
Gay boys that keep secrets? Never. Never.
Wait,
impossible. Wait a minute.
There's an amazing race mafia that is Sicilian, and if they violated their non-compete, they would be in that indigenous jungle in Brazil. So from this experience of the travel and the experience of doing that and your love of travel, then you've moved into this new gig that you're doing, and you're out now specifically for the LGBTQ community. Out Traveler is one of the best things, in my opinion, in the world for our community. Tell us a bit about what you're doing there at Out Traveler. And I looked at every picture of you two in Hawaii, and if I looked at one more picture of you two kissing, it was like, oh, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I think just after, being in quarantine for so long and seeing the world again through The Amazing Race airing, we were just really eager and excited to get back out there. So Will and I started talking about what can we do as, LGBT travelers to inspire our community to get back out there when they're ready to do so. Yeah. And so we, started talking with the team at Out Traveler and said, what if we created a series called Get Back Out There, where we showcase different U.S. cities and the things to do there that are LGBT inclusive, whether it's an LGBT-owned business, activity, accommodation, and really start to get that tourism booming again.
Yeah. So we've been interviewing LGBTQ-owned businesses, drag queens, politicians, city council members, different accommodations across the U.S., just to showcase the LGBTQ community in these different places.
What's your favorite part of the experience of travel, like what you're doing with Out Travel, and your experience in terms of what you're doing now? What's your favorite experience of why you're doing it now?
Interacting with the community, with people. I think hearing people's stories, everybody's had a different quarantine story, and to hear how challenging it was or how they've pushed through, the perseverance, the resilience that they show, I think hearing those types of things has been rewarding for us, but also just the ability to showcase those stories, because we've all been in quarantine. It's a collective trauma, if you will, that we've all gone through together. So I think interacting has been something that I've really enjoyed.
Well, and we remind everybody, you can go back and watch the season on demand. Have you been thinking about All Stars yet?
Oh my gosh.
More importantly, when's the wedding? That's what they're probably thinking about.
Survivor Winners at War was a big thing.
No, it's not the wedding. It's All Stars.
Let's do it again.
I told us, if we ever get the phone call, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Like even if we have to postpone our wedding again, we're going to do it again. But no, we're really excited for our wedding. We've had to postpone it twice because of the pandemic, but we're getting married in New Orleans in December, and it's the same date of when we crossed the finish line and won and got engaged. So
that is so
it has more special meaning.
So gay.
Right?
Right? That's why in Hawaii I saw 590 kissing pictures in every hotel, restaurant, helicopter there was in Hawaii. Yeah, I'm calling you out. I looked at your program. It was a beautiful piece. And you're here in South Florida. You're getting ready to do it again.
Yeah, this is our first time being in South Florida, and it's actually our 6th city that we've been to in the last month. So we're really excited to be here and looking forward to being here.
Partially, I'm going to suspend your gay card for saying that, because this is the gayest place on planet Earth. How is this possible that this is the first time you've been in?
I'm going to blame COVID.
COVID.
Oh, yeah. It's COVID's fault.
I think COVID.
And I happen to know both of your ages, and you were traveling a lot before COVID, so I'm suspending your card for 14 minutes. You've lost your card for 14 minutes. Well, Will Jardell and James Wallington, we're thrilled about your experience on The Amazing Race. You did our entire community proud.
Thank you.
Entire community proud.
Very much.
Congratulations on December. And I so hope you don't get married in December, because you're on the Amazing Race also. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Right?
Will and James, thank you for doing our show. You guys are super cute. I initially was going to rob you because you won $1 million. No, I won't. So that is today's news for the LGBTQ community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Then help us by liking and subscribing. Ring the bell for updates. Share this news with your friends and family.
Post this broadcast in the many groups you are a member of. Tonight's stories are about our community. They deserve your attention of friends and family.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ+ digital television news in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these LGBTQ+ stories in motion and sound. And that is the passion of Happening Out Television Network and Queer News Tonight. I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ+ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including FayWhat, Tiffany Fantasia, Will Jardell, and James Wallington, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. Good night.